yeah, you got to be well known, but you got to create an emotion that drives people to do something you want them to do.
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
Your first business. Oh my God, tell me about it, because I opened a restaurant here in United Kingdom and I lost 200,000 pounds.
Yeah,
It's a great I help a lot of entrepreneurs with the business, and sometimes I hear people that want to say, okay, I want to spend 60,000 per year, and I study master in business administration. I always telling them, if you really want to learn about business, open a restaurant, you will see.
That's so true though, because you're in a hyper competitive industry when you open a restaurant.
Wow.
It's a very passionate industry because both people that work in the restaurant space and people that eat at restaurants are very passionate about their food. You know, it's a very emotional thing for a lot of people. And the margins, as you well know, are so thin.
Exactly.
I got really good at making a profit on a $6 sandwich at a 10% margin. And
Really?
I think if you can learn how to
That's
run that
amazing.
P&L, if you can learn how to run that P&L, then all of a sudden running a services business or a higher margin business like we're doing now is much, much easier. But yeah, that was
one of the more one of the more complex P&L that I ever seen is the restaurant ones, because you have food waste, you have margin, you have staff, you have bills, you have, I mean, it's a huge operation. I didn't even have any clue what I was getting into. And
same.
yeah, but I thought that was same like other business. Well, it's not. A lot of
hmm
elements goes into that equation that they are not in other businesses. Like now, for example, you run a marketing agency. You know,
Yeah.
is the level of complexity. I mean, it's not that the business that you're running is not complex, but the restaurant, oh boy. So. So people should like your product, your ribs or whatever you were cooking, that they were buying it, right?
Yeah, we had a great product, and I quickly learned that what you do as a product or a service really doesn't matter. And what I mean by that now is that
I
people like
agree.
us that are entrepreneurs are way too addicted to our own things. You know, we're very passionate about being into barbecue or whatever restaurant you were in, or HVAC companies or something like that. Like you're really good at doing the thing. And all of a sudden, when you start a business, you're no longer the thing doer. You are now a business owner. You're an entrepreneur, which is a totally different job. And it's a totally different set of skills. And it took me a solid 2.5 years to learn that lesson. And once I figured that out, all of a sudden the business unlocked and we started scaling. And we ended up crossing, $1 million in revenue for a 25, 30 seat restaurant, which was pretty good for us.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
fantastic.
And the only thing that
Wow.
stopped us from going from where we were in the beginning to where we were at the end there was a level of education that I hadn't had yet, because this was my first time owning a business. And what
And
ultimately
it's a
cost
tough
us that
one, eh?
business was me not knowing what I was doing and having ego and a whole lot of other things that I'm happy to talk about. But I ended up crashing a business that I had built over 6 years. And within a period of like 2 months, all this momentum was just gone. And you got to be really careful when you're on your own entrepreneurial journey. The rule I have now is you don't want to bankrupt the brand and you don't want to bankrupt the business. Those are the
I
two
agree
things
with
you
you.
can't come back from. So any risk you take risk. Entrepreneurs take risk every day, and that's fine. But if the risk you take, if it plays out and there's any chance that it ends up bankrupting your business or bankrupting your brand, like, and bankrupting your brand, by the way, that means like huge PR crisis, you get canceled on the internet, like something like that. Like, are you taking a stand that you don't actually believe in and all those things?
Mm.
But if you can't come back from it, then you're just out of the game and you get to start all over, which is what I did. And I hope to only have to make that mistake one time. I try not to make the same mistake twice.
I mean, Charlie, listen, well, there is no entrepreneur out there that haven't done make mistakes. If I tell you about how many mistakes I make in business, you will cry here. I'm gonna depress you. So let's don't go there. You know what I mean? So, like I said, for me, the same thing, right? I own several businesses. After I started very real estate successful business here in United Kingdom. We sold over 5 million, talking about 15 years ago, right? And because I was bored, a lot of people talk about about how to deal with failure, but nobody talks about how to deal with success, right? And it
Mm,
happened that the business was running autopilot. I was making a lot of money, and then because literally I was bored, and I did have a dream about to open a restaurant. Then I say, you know what? Rather than be here and watching TV and at home getting all this money, let me go and find my another dream, which is open the restaurant. Oh my God, the restaurant almost bring me to bankrupt and almost collapse the other businesses. And
mm-hmm,
again, it's what you said, lack of knowledge, right? And I like a lot what you said because business we learn by experience, right? And the my issue with the restaurant, and I think like everybody's issue there, right? I think that my first business, the property, I got lucky. Sometimes you get lucky, right? You have a product that you can have a good margin, marketing cost is very low, the cost of acquisition, and you make a good profit. And the mistake is to think that all business are like this. I
mm,
just got lucky. However, the restaurant taught me the biggest lesson, and probably everything I learned, it was not from my lucky business, it was for that failure, right? And
mm,
my biggest problem was that same like you said, right? We are all very good at what we do, right? Meaning developing the product, right?
mm-hmm.
But the product is only 20% of the question. Nobody told me that. It cost me 200,000 pounds to learn that, right? I the
It's a
eighty
great
percent, the eighty
college
percent it
education.
goes to marketing and sales. You know what I mean? If you
Mm,
cannot market and say that, and again, what you said, right? Is the product the most important thing? I mean, the product has to be good, right? Because
mm-hmm,
if you have a good product, you have clients that come back for the product. But honestly, the fact that you can sell your product have nothing to do with the quality of your product. If you're
mm-hmm,
very good at marketing and sales, you will sell your product. The issue is that if the product is not good, the client won't come back again, right? You won't have
mm-hmm.
repeating clients, right? And people don't
That's right.
understand that, that everybody put all the energy, all the effort, because we don't know anything any better, right? In
Mm-hmm.
let me have the perfect BBQ, let me have the perfect product and everything, and then you put all your knowledge, all your energy, all your money, create the most amazing product, and then, who's gonna buy it? I don't have
Yeah.
resources. How am I gonna bring all these people to buy it? I already spent all the money. And
Well,
this is
you can go online and look up all the Google reviews in the world of places that have closed, whether it's a restaurant or your favorite ecom brand or whatever. And you look at these reviews and they're very popular. You know, they're very positive reviews. They're over 4.5 stars a lot of times for these different things. And you got to ask yourself, why isn't this successful? If people liked the product, then this company should be successful. But you're 100% right. It's maybe it's 20% or whatever the number is. It doesn't really matter. The thing is that your product doesn't matter. What matters is how many people know your product. You know, the story we
exactly.
tell, and this is how I got into marketing. Honestly, now that I own a digital advertising agency, I'm obsessed with this whole thing. It's not the best products that win. It's the best known products that win. Here in the
Mm-hmm.
States, we had a brand called Kmart. It's very similar to a Walmart or a Target. You know, it's like it's a huge big box store and they're gone. But here they were very popular for a very long time and then they were just gone overnight. And it's not that they had an awareness problem. They had a emotional awareness problem. And what that means is that people knew who they were, but they didn't feel anything when they thought about them. And so that's
Mm-hmm.
the second layer to being well known. Like, yeah, you got to be well known, but you got to create an emotion that drives people to do something you want them to do. Now, if you create a hyper negative emotion, all of a sudden that person is they're going to go smack talk you online. They're going to spread the word negatively to all their friends. They're going to make some decisions you're not going to like, and it's all going to be in the wrong way. Versus if your marketing and product create a positive experience, all of a sudden they're much more happy to go share that and bring it around. And so it's not, I don't believe that all press is good press. I truly don't believe that. I think if you want to have a long-standing business, it's built over, and you know this, right? It's built over decades of building trust, and it
Mm-hmm.
takes about 4 seconds
Yeah.
to erase it. And you got to be really careful when you're marketing your business that you're not just like trying to go get attention, because the attention will come with an emotion, and it could be the wrong one. And so you got to be really cognizant of that.
So with message Chandler you have for the entrepreneurs out there that maybe they don't have experience, and they come and they will say, oh, you know what? I only care about have a good quality product. I don't care about the brand. I don't care about marketing. I don't care about sales. If my product is good, people will buy it. So, what message do you have for these young entrepreneurs?
You better be really good at making friends that want to be in business with you, because you're not going to do it on your own. There may be, I'm not a big absolutes guy. There could be examples out there where the founder of the company just really believed in the product, and it was all the product, and they had a magical word of mouth thing, and like somehow that company made it. Those stories are fun to tell in movies. They're fun to write about in articles because they're the exception. They're novel experiences. The only reason we're interested in those stories is because they don't ever happen.
Exactly.
And because they don't ever happen, that means they're interesting to look at. And so if you are going to be a product guy or girl, that's great. Do that. But be really self-aware of what you're good at, what you're passionate about, and find people to either be employees early on or straight up business partners that you give equity to be able to fill the gaps that you have. Because if you don't, you will find out very quickly that your passion and knowledge base will only take you so far. And you're going to hit, in the entrepreneur world, as you know, a plateau. You're going to stop growing at some point. And until you learn the lesson at that plateau, you will never get beyond it. And you will very quickly, if you're just a product person, figure out, I've got the best product in the world and nobody wants it. And nobody wants to talk about it. And when I give it to people, they love it and they say positive things, but then they don't buy it. I hear these stories all the time. And I'm like, you don't have a product problem. You have an awareness problem, more than likely. And if you don't have an awareness problem and you sell stuff and you're bad at delivering it, now you have a service problem. So it's just like you're on a certain plateau at all times as an entrepreneur. And the only reason you're still on that plateau is because of some piece of information you're missing. And the information can either be gained by finances, by being able to pay somebody for the information. You can go buy a bunch of books and see what you can learn on your own. You can make friends like you and I are now, and I can call you up someday and be like, hey, I'm struggling with this. Like, I'm losing $200,000 a year in my restaurant. Can you help me with that? So
definitely for my next restaurant, I'll call you in.
Never again. Yeah. You'll tell me to not do it. That would be the move. But it's if you want to go somewhere you're not now, like, and we'll get into this in a minute, like, not to spoil anything at the end of the show about how do you make your first million. If you want to go somewhere you're not, you got to learn something you don't know. And then you got to get really good at implementing it.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.